The PBO Act sets preconditions for registration and recognition and the benefits that come with recognition under the PBO Act. In the PBO Act, only organizations registered under the Act can claim PBO status. Organizations already registered under another law must cancel that registration before applying under the PBO Act. In the event that dual registration occurs, the registration under the PBO Act takes precedence, rendering the other registration invalid. The PBO Authority may grant public benefit status to organizations registered under other laws in certain cases. In this case, rules and regulations will outline the criteria and process for granting this status. Only registered PBOs are eligible for benefits like tax exemptions and grants. These incentives are designed to encourage compliance and distinguish PBOs from other civil society organizations. To register a PBO, one requires the following documents and details: the founding document / the Constitution, names and addresses of founders, public benefit purposes and principal activities, a main office and postal address, and an application fee. A PBO's constitution must contain an organization's name, objectives, and voluntary participation clause. It must also contain provisions on non-distribution of income or property to members or the governing body. A PBO must also contain a governance structure, meeting rules, decision-making procedures, and financial management via bank account. It must also provide for amendment and dissolution procedures, including asset distribution to a similar PBO. To register an international PBO, one is required to submit an application form, a Kenyan address, and governing board details, 1/3 being Kenyan. One must also maintain an office in Kenya, and they may receive a permit for operation where there are no direct activities in Kenya, or a certificate of registration if they have direct activities in Kenya. What does the registration process under the PBO Act entail? It includes a review timeline where the PBO authority must decide within 60 days. Non-compliant applications are notified in writing with a 30-day rectification period, while approved applications are registered within 14 days. What would be the grounds for refusal of registration? Issues of non-compliance with the criteria, unlawful objectives, or breaches of the PBO Act, false or misleading information, and misleading or a duplication of the organization name. By registering, a PBO gains legal status to sue or be sued, to own property, and to enter lawful contracts. The registration is also valid until voluntary dissolution or official cancellation. The PBO Act also provides the grounds for suspension or cancellation of registration of a PBO. These grounds include violations of the PBO Act or the Constitution, or evidence of the PBO's non-existence. The procedure for suspension or cancellation of a PBO registration entails a written notice with a 15-day rectification period, actions that include fines, suspension or cancellation, and a written notice provided within 21 days of action. A PBO may submit an appeal to the authority or disputes tribunal within 60 days of the decision, and the tribunal must issue a decision within 60 days. On offenses and penalties, the PBO Act states that crimes include falsifying documents or misrepresenting the PBO status. This may attract penalties that include fines of up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings and or imprisonment of up to 2 years. Under the PBO Act, PBOs have the right to form, join, and participate in forums. This means that PBOs have the freedom to collaborate with other organizations to create forums, join or leave existing PBO forums, and participate in forum activities, including electing officials and representatives. PBOs also have the right to engage in advocacy. This means that PBOs may advocate on public benefit issues and exercise peaceful assembly, picketing, and petitioning rights. However, PBOs cannot fundraise, campaign, or support or oppress political parties or candidates. PBOs are entitled to engage in policy formulation processes, especially at local levels. The PBO Act also sets out obligations for public benefit organizations after registering. On finance and operations, it states that resources are to be used strictly for intended purposes. It requires maintenance of proper accounting records and reports and requires PBOs to prepare financial statements adhering to the accepted accounting standards within 6 months of the financial year's end. It also sets out an obligation on audits and reporting. Here, PBOs are expected to engage an independent auditor to verify financial documents and submit audited financial documents and annual activity reports to the PBO Regulatory Authority. Finally, PBOs are required to provide the PBO Regulatory Authority with contact details of governing body members within 1 month of their appointment. The governing body has the duty to oversee and ensure compliance with accounting standards, to review and approve organizational reports and activities to align with the PBO's objectives, manage governance tasks such as appointing board members, amending the PBO's constitution, and deciding on the closure of the PBO. The governing members are shielded from personal liability if actions are conducted responsibly and honestly. The PBO Regulatory Authority may issue a notice for corrective action or explanations if a PBO breaches its obligations. Failure to comply can lead to registration cancellation, and PBOs have the right to appeal cancellation decisions through a set legal process. The PBO Act emphasizes the importance of self-regulation for a thriving civil society, with the goal of promoting self-regulation among public benefit organizations. So what mechanisms are provided for in self-regulation? PBOs are permitted to form independent self-regulation bodies or forums. These forums can organize into a federation to enhance self-regulation. The forums also develop their own codes of conduct and standards, ensuring members adhere to them. The Act outlines principles to guide PBO operations and governance. Governing bodies must provide guidelines on issues like conflict of interest to ensure integrity. The Act establishes a national PBO federation, which is an umbrella body for registered PBOs to promote effective self-regulation, build PBO capacity, and represent the sector in public forums. All registered PBOs and self-regulation forums can join the federation with voting rights in its governance. The Federation's board selects representatives for public bodies through a transparent and participatory process. The authority collaborates with PBO forums to improve self-regulation. In this case, agreements between forums and the authority foster cooperation and mutual understanding. Additionally, the authority provides training to enhance self-regulation efforts in the sector.